Hello, the Sonic City Council is now in session. Thank you for inviting us into your headphones, your car, your home, your mind. What up, Davey Sipes?
Hi, Jesse.
How's it going?
Oh, I guess it's going okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome back, Humanoids. We're doing the thing where we talk about stuff to people who are awesome. Jesse, hit the bang thing and let's go. Yep.
I missed it.
Yep. You know, I didn't want to give him the whole formal intro because...
Yeah, we're a few episodes in at this point.
Well, also just because we're giddy. I feel like we're giddy as a couple schoolgirls at this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got excited, and now we're trying to finish up and finish with the intro. That's what Dad always said. What's that?
I don't know. Trying to like bring it into like, I don't know, some form of...
I felt like you should have said Olay or something.
Yeah.
Like, that gesture had
Yeah.
some sauce, but not a real finish.
All right. And we're fading in from the cool music, and I missed that gavel hit.
Oh, is that what the problem was?
I think so. I don't know. It was a little bit too far away from my... Heavy lies the gavel.
Heavy lies the gavel.
That's the saying.
This thing reminds me of me anatomically. Audience.
Well, you know what? We've been thinking about developing a Patreon kind of format, and I don't know, maybe that's something that could be some bonus content that wouldn't be allowed on YouTube.
That's a banging segue. Yeah, we're thinking about a Patreon, and you let us know if you'd want to see parts of us.
I don't know. I mean, it's you brought it up.
Artistically speaking,
I mean,
aesthetically pleasing parts of us.
We don't have a whiteboard up here with ideas, but I feel like that would go on there and not get erased for a decent amount of time. You know, and would actually.
I wouldn't get kicked out of any beds.
Nah, I don't think so.
Well, that's right. Me neither.
Well, we are back at it at another council meeting.
Here we are.
Yeah, and you know, this has been a lot of fun talking to like just friends of ours, people that, you know, aren't acquainted with necessarily, and like getting to actually, I don't know, I'm learning a lot about different people's perspective, especially during this crazy time.
It's been wonderful. It's been super insightful on a serious note, and it's also just been like a frenzy of good times.
Yeah, it has. And especially with this next guest, we haven't had a chance to hang often because we've only actually hung out one time in person. But it is the lovely Rachel Lynch, singer-songwriter out of Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City.
Yeah, and she was gracious enough to take in me when I was on tour with a band and fed us for the evening and housed us and, you know, made sure we had a place to sleep.
Like the Irish wolfhound with distemper that you are.
Sure, that's a new one.
Yeah.
I've gotten Zach Hansen, the guy from Sons of Anarchy, Kurt Cobain when my hair was like shorter and younger. So that's a new one I will add to the list.
There you go.
So
you're not that gray yet, but when you get older, yeah, you.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be there, folks.
Fortunately, knock on gavel, I don't know a lot about that yet. So
it all goes gray. All of it.
Ooh, that's a deep sort of metaphor for things, isn't it?
I guess it could be. I'm just talking about from the South Pole to the North Pole. Hey.
Yeah.
I like my intro. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I tend to read into things more than I should on that. So, but you know that about me by now.
Yeah. You're a deep dude. It's a deep dive with the Deep Davidson.
Ooh. T-shirt.
It's like people used to call me Jesse, but my real name's Deep. Deep Davidson.
Yeah, but so I don't know. It's good to like do this to catch up with, you know, Rachel and talk to people that I haven't necessarily talked to in a while. But also, she's got a really unique personality and perspective on life and songwriting, like many of our guests have. And I don't know. I just thought that like with her bubbly nature and sort of like, you know, this sort of silliness about her and her songwriting, that like I want to know about. Hey, how does that come together? Like, how does that translate into lyrics and, you know, songs and all that good stuff?
Totally, dude. As soon as I heard some of her tunes, I was like, this is somebody whose brain I want to pick about their process, because the lyric writing and obviously her singing, as soon as anyone hears it, you can tell it's like she's a great singer, but the lyrics are like second to none. They're boss lyrics.
Yes.
I'm a lyricist. I love that stuff. So, yeah, it was definitely cool. And as usual, you're friends with everybody, so that's another plus that we get to exploit for our show.
That's what true friendship is about.
Friendship is about calling in favors, you guys.
Yeah.
And what a cool person she is, though.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get it.
Let's talk.
today,
So nice.
today we have the lovely Rachel Lynch on the podcast. So good to see you. And the last time I saw you, I was sitting somewhere in that area, back in there, or somewhere in the house, and was eating chili mac with my bandmates.
That sounds like you.
Yeah, special occasion.
So good.
And after I was on the road with Reverend Red, and we were doing a little 2.5 week run. And we opened for your band, the Daydrinkers, Rachel Lynch and the Daydrinkers. And
That was awesome.
Yeah, it was. And you were nice enough to take us in for the evening and feed us and give us a place to sleep. And so just so you know how rad Rachel is, she's awesome. So
opened her home to the likes of you.
Yeah, all the crazy long-haired, bearded people, and
Yeah, I'm thinking of Reverend Red Collective on tour. It's kind of like, whoa, those are swarthy gents.
Yeah, it's like, is this a band of prospectors and their friends, or is this
bikers without bikes? What's happening?
Yeah, what's happening here? And
Can you imagine if we combined all of our hair?
Oh my
Right?
God,
Your hair is epic.
I don't know, but if there's somebody trapped in a tower somewhere,
I was about to say, there's nothing we couldn't scale with our hairs combined.
Yeah, there's
absolutely.
There's a Rapunzel situation. We've got it.
We got it handled.
We've got it taken care of. But I wanted to ask, like, thinking about that, since I haven't seen you in, I don't know, about 2 years since then.
Ages.
Yeah. Is that something that you would do often, like taking in bands and kind of like feeding touring bands that come through town, or?
Well, I try to. Yeah. So I actually moved houses since you were here.
Okay.
That was kind of a scary neighborhood, honestly.
It was a little bit. It was a little bit.
So scary. Super sketch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like to. The Tejon boys from Colorado, buddies from Tennessee, anyone that's traveling through, I like to feed them. I love feeding people. It's so much fun. Just take my food and eat it. And I like having a couch for people to sleep on, and it's just fun.
Yeah.
I love people.
Yeah.
COVID's made it weird, but
Yes, it has.
yeah.
Well, and you know what? It's not only did you have the couch, you had the hammock situation going on too, which was also nice. So definitely, if the couch is taken up and blow-up mattress is taken up, you can suspend above the earth and sleep for about hopefully 6 or 7 hours.
I prefer a hammock. Like,
so funny.
I always sleep in defiance of gravity. Always. That's the situation I go for.
Always.
So yeah, I'd say hammock me. Hammock me.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? It's it's funny that you say that that you love people and all that, because I don't know. I feel like you get more of that spirit just because you really get more of a give and take as a musician, because you could very easily be in that situation where, like, hey, I'm in another city and we need a place to stay for the night, and so I don't know. I feel like it just adds to like your gig musician karma to do that for other people.
Yeah, absolutely. Like my first tour ever, right when I became a full-time musician, was through Texas, and I didn't really know many people. And so what I would do is camp out at like state parks and shit. Wait, can I say bad words?
Yes.
Say a few.
Oh, okay.
Just to check the levels. Fuck.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fuck 2, 3.
Fuck 2, 3.
There you go. Yeah, see?
The boys always say before we start a show, let's fuck this chicken. And I'm always so embarrassed.
Oh.
Apparently a news reporter said that on air. And
okay.
they've said
Was
it ever
that Bill
since.
O'Reilly? Who said that?
I don't know.
I want to look
so
that up.
good.
That's
Yeah,
great.
that's awesome.
But since I started being a musician, I know a lot more people, and so it's nice to stay at all those random houses and meet their animals. I love waking up with like 3 dogs on me. It's the best.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel the same way. You get to, I mean, I have a pup now. I didn't back then. And and so I don't know, for the longest time, and I still live vicariously through other people's dogs, so
Absolutely.
I feel you on that. I wanted to talk to you too, because we've never really gotten into touring as far as like talking about your touring necessarily, but hey, have you had a lot of touring experience? Like, have you gotten to travel to a lot of different places?
I've been on maybe 4 or 5 tours in the 3 years that I've been a full-time musician.
Okay.
And the farthest I've gone was a month-long tour out to California.
Oh, cool.
And that's where I played with Reverend Red. Well, solo act.
Yeah.
And so it's been a lot of fun. I like to do the smaller tours because the month-long tour was a little much. It was so much driving, very little sleep, And so the 2-week tours are best when you can go around, like go out to Colorado, go through Texas, Kansas. I like those. I like the small ones.
Yeah, same. I don't know. I haven't done a super long run yet. They've always been just happen to fall within like weekends or week or like, you know, 2 weeks. But I don't know. I feel like you really get, I don't know. I guess it would depend on who you're with in the situation because.
Absolutely.
And I mean, you could, I mean, you can speak for this being in a band situation, not just being a solo performer, that it really is like all about the hang because you're only playing for maybe an hour or two, you know, in a period of your day, and you still have another 22 hours to deal with everybody else that you're going to be traveling with. So.
Yeah, you got to like your people. Otherwise, it's miserable. Ugh.
Yeah.
And the stink from tours. Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Can we get into this for a second? Is this all right? Is this a good lane of conversation to get into?
Absolutely.
I don't know. It is something that you don't even consider unless you're actually in that situation because you have the van, which is literally just a cocoon of sort of stank. Yeah, stank. And then it's also like if you're on the road, you're probably sharing one hotel room or like, you know, one space, which usually means like one bathroom. And so, and if you have 4 or 5, 6 people in a band with various diets and eating habits, then it kind of, I'll let your imagination do the rest of the work there.
You made the phrase diets and eating habits sound disgusting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like Rachel is Rachel's in the land of Whataburger, which I'm not a fan of. All right. You know, it's okay. Like
hard pass.
Yeah. Hard pass for me. But in that band I was in, there were people that loved Whataburger and would eat it. You know, hey, we're only going to be in Texas and Oklahoma for 2 or 3 days, so let's.
We gotta get it.
Yeah, and so you know that's there's a aftermath in a hotel room afterwards when that happens.
Absolutely.
Especially when you add in Jack Daniels and other beers and alcohol in there, and it makes a witch's brew for some time later.
Term.
Man, you really thought about this. You got all your all your imagery tightened up.
It's not a thought. It's you don't think about it until you wake up late and you're the last person to like shower or like use the bathroom, and you go, oh, okay.
Oh,
and I don't know. It's just there's a lot of hidden factors you don't think about with being in a band. So I don't know. Like
absolutely.
As a full-time musician, can you speak to that as far as like some of those aspects of being in a band?
So, yes. The month-long tour that I was on was with another girl. So it was solo musicians just doing our song swap kind of thing. And so that was easier. Another girl, not too bad. Like, I don't know. It wasn't very stinky. But the boys with they all have families. And so we do like the mini tours, like 4 or 5 days, and that's it. And it's hard.
Here it comes.
Because my bassist has a very tender stomach.
Oh, yep. Me
and
too.
So he's not used to gross things. And at one point, I threw up in a bathtub.
Oh, no.
Oh, well,
And he's got a kid, and I was like, Johnny, what do I do about this? And he goes, huh. Ran away. I was like,
oh,
okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Hose it down, man. Wow.
Yeah. So like with the weekend tours, they haven't gotten that bad smell wise.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm the stinkiest out of all of us. Like,
really?
I sweat so much when I play a show or when I sing. And I'm always like having to put on deodorant right before a show. Like, all right, let's get this shit taken care of.
Yeah, let's fuck this chicken, boys.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Isn't it such a good saying?
I mean, it works. It works. I don't know.
Gets the band pumped up, obviously.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
obviously.
It's not like, hey, guys, I think we can do this and have a good time. It's
yeah,
like,
it's definitely let's have a great show. No, it's a fucking step beyond.
It's taking your
this chicken.
It's taking all your poker chips and just going like,
you're
all right.
In.
Oh,
you're
yeah.
all in tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking
Absolutely.
No, it's for the
so
brave.
funny.
That's cool.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? It's
no.
No. Well, it's I don't know.
Rhetorical man.
Well, okay. So you like kind of defy, I think, like stereotypes of what like necessarily it means to be like, a woman in music or things like that. And okay, I'm glad I wanted to talk about this because like you like your personality is very just kind of already down to earth and kind of fun and silly and goofy, like as you can tell. But it's also, like you'll openly like just belch on stage or like snort when you laugh or like talk about this kind of stuff. And like, I don't know, has that been interesting for you with like what people's expectations of like, I'm a female singer-songwriter, and it's like there's this image of like delicacy that comes with that, and then you're kind of just and you're kind of just like nah, and then you come in and do your own thing with it.
So it's been good and bad. It's been good in the ways where I can speak my mind and I'm not really embarrassed about it or ashamed or anything. And it's been nice because other female musicians have written me and they're like, I really look up to that. And I think that's amazing. And I want to be more like that. I'm like, absolutely, you should. Instead of having to deal with whatever people do with like an air of grace surrounding you. Like, you don't have to deal with shit if you don't want to. Mm-hmm. There's a point of being polite. And then there's a point where some dude's in the crowd talking about how you're making his dick hard. And you're like, hey, shut the fuck up, man.
Right.
Fucking vomit. Yeah. And then there's the bad side. Oh, right? No, absolutely. That's where that shit goes.
Yeah.
That's going to be a song.
Yeah.
But there's also the bad part where I played at this kind of fancier place, and the lady who booked me, she was like, do whatever you want. And I said, are you sure? You've seen my shows, like, you know what I'm about, right? She said, yeah, people have heard it all before. I was like, okay. And so I'm getting into it, and I'm telling, like, I've said fucking motherfucker a bunch of times already, and I'm telling a joke. I'm going to tell you the joke.
Oh, please.
Yep.
About this show I played in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Do you know where that is?
No.
Home of OSU.
Okay.
The Cowboys.
Yeah. I watched college ball,
Cowboys.
but yeah. I
So,
didn't think I'd
I don't
recognize
know.
anything about it.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
Nice pull, dude. Nice.
Hey, I had to get something there. So it's Stillwater, Oklahoma, and I'm surrounded by cowboys, as it were, and I'm doing Rachel's Joke Corner, which is just a terrible time where I tell really bad dad jokes. And this older lady comes up to me and she said, can I tell a joke? And I said, sure. So she took the mic from me.
Uh-oh.
As we're surrounded by cowboys,
Uh-oh.
she says, hey, why do cowboys love denim condoms? And I said, I don't know why. She said, because they shrink to fit. Dropped the mic, left me to deal with the aftermath. And I was just like,
Yeah. Like, uh-oh.
Anyway, so I'm in the middle of telling this joke at a show. And the lady who booked me turns around and yells, you can't say condom here. And I was like,
Okay.
that's where you draw the line? Safe
Who doesn't let a
motherfucking
condom?
sex?
You get one prophylactic per set, but condom is right out. Can't do that.
She was taught that was the C word growing up.
Yeah, right?
So,
Yeah.
Makes sense.
It was just so strange. So I've had good and bad times with what I say, but I thought that was the weirdest.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there are some pros and cons to who I am as a female musician.
Sure.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Do you feel like that translates into your songwriting and your lyrics at all? I mean, I think it does just from like listening to it, but I wanted to ask you to get your take on it.
Absolutely. Like, my song about having a hangover.
Yeah.
It's called Sundays. And there's a line in it that says shitting my brains out.
Yep.
And
Cracks me up, dude.
So I feel like it does translate to my music because I like, my biggest influences are Tenacious D, fucking Bloodhound Gang.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to be like almost coarse, with what I say and then singing it in this sweet voice, it's one of my favorite things of all time. Some people don't realize the lyrics until they're like, she just say shit her fucking brains out?
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's so much fun. So yeah.
Well, yeah, but I never feel like, at least with listening to your music, that it's forced at all at any point.
No.
And and I don't feel like it's necessarily like you're trying to be crass. It's because you go from a song like Honeybee, which is very sweet and kind of like detailed, and romantic, and I really like that song. It's my favorite song on your record.
Thanks.
But then you go to a song like that, and it's also kind of funny and like more just kind of like, yep, this is a story that happened. So I feel like it's more just reflective of your personality, and instead of trying to fit into a particular box or style, I guess.
I think so too. What did you say? I'm so sorry.
I was just complimenting him. I was like, "That's so sweet. What a nice statement."
Yeah.
It was a nice statement.
It was. He does that.
I think it does too. It's and that's what I like my music to be, is just stories. Like my song about mushrooms. You know.
Oh, can I say? We're gonna get into your lyrics in a minute, though. By the way.
Yeah.
These
are
amazing
excited.
lyrics because they're just mind-boggling. And by the way, the belch is actually on the record. It's on that,
that's
that solo version of The Hang of It. I'm like, I was like, that really meant a lot to me. Like, it transcended things because of everything Jesse already said, and because something like, you get away with a lot of stuff as a boy, right? Growing up in this society. Sure. But belching was one of those things in my family. It was like, you could swear, but you couldn't belch. That was a sign of like, oh, everyone's going to know where we're really from. And so I would always get like this, when we were like, when I'd be like, "Ruh," and just like you, I have a natural beautiful talent for it,
Yeah.
And you really hit like 2 notes at the end. I was like, it reminded me of like the throat singers from Tufa,
Oh my God, yes.
And I was like, there was so much happening in that moment. And I just want to say thank you for that. And we'll go into more. There's so many great lyrics. These lyrics are so crazy good.
Yeah.
Oh.
So good.
Yeah.
I'm
every
super
song.
excited.
But yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I appreciate it too, because it's just, like I said, it never comes off as like a forced thing. It's always just like, part of your personality, because I feel like if you were a female musician that was like just trying to like, I'm just one of the boys and like, I'm just going to do gross stuff just to do it, it wouldn't feel right. Whereas like,
I agree.
Yeah, it's like with you, it's just like, yep, this is me, and you're just not afraid to like put it out there, which is cool. Like it's a cool vibe to have.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I've worked real hard on it.
Yeah.
Did that stem from more of like your natural personality, or did it come from like playing more of like dive bars and playing like places where it's like you do get heckled and you might get guys like that are throwing out like, kind of testing you to see like, oh, is she cool? And you have to go, no, shut the fuck up. This is me.
It's a really good question. I think it's more of just how I grew up and the personality that I developed along the way.
Mm-hmm.
But a portion of it has to be dealing with motherfuckers at those bars that are just trying to be rude and like get under your skin or be weird.
Yeah.
People are gross sometimes.
Yeah.
And be weird.
Definitely.
And especially, I mean, it's a common thing that we've talked about, but being a female musician, like it is almost a test sometimes, especially when I first started with male musicians, just to see if I could belong without like, this is going to sound rude, but like fucking my way to the top,
Right.
Because it's just such a thing. Not all guys. Of course not. It's never a blanket
of course not. But
like
90% of us, we know what you mean.
Oh yeah.
90% of
a
us.
lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to be one, I think, pretty sure. I'm barely clean enough for this conversation.
But I don't know. You've it's
No, I'm kidding.
Well, it speaks to like, where people's mentality could be coming from, especially when they're younger and more immature, or also, I don't
wish
know.
it was just that. I think that's just the state of humanity. Like when I think about the places that you've been out playing, like, I've played a couple of those places too, and I always know like, oh, the reception is always great. People just treat you like shit. But it's like, to be a woman, I just intrinsically have seen it. I got a mom and a sister, and I watch them go out in the world and be people and see like the range of shit you get for being the slightest bit assertive, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
No one will put my sister in her place, not ever. And
right.
It's like she's got more crap and more people throw crap at her every day for it. And I'm like, nope, that's the way it's got to be.
Right.
Yeah.
So you got
thinking more about your question. So when I first started playing music, I was actually really nervous all the time. I would almost throw up before shows. Like,
oh no,
I was pretty shy, and
you love
I
throwing
would get
up.
better, huh?
You love throwing up.
It's a common thing.
It's cool.
It happens
But
sometimes.
Artists.
Yeah.
Well, and I'd just be so shy, and then the more I got better, like the easier it was, of course. And so I would get through my sets just fine. But then I would be like, you know what? I want to bring more to this. And so then I would start like just letting my personality kind of show through rather than just through the music, through the bits in between. I love telling stories. I love making people laugh. And so it's fun to have those little moments in between. So it's helped me develop throughout the years.
Yeah. Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's, I think too, it's weird how there is that perception of like, are you good enough? Or, how did you get to this position? And then whether you write a really good song or if you can like shred a guitar or, like really play the drums or whatever it is, like you display your talent and you're deemed worthy. Then there's also the weird thing like where you get more of those people that are like almost kind of fawning all over you or like trying to like be that way at the merch table after a show. And it's just weird because it's like, it's almost the two dichotomies of like, are you worth it? And then this like, oh my God, you're amazing. And it's like, well, is that a legitimate compliment? Or are you just saying that because you're like, you're trying to like impress me and like it's not coming from a genuine place.
Yeah.
We're talking about so much creepy shit anyway.
I don't know. It just kind of got in this rabbit hole. We were talking about playing dive bars, and that's just kind of something that comes with the territory.
It sure does.
Yeah.
People are so strange sometimes.
Yeah.
I went on a date with a guy one time, and I told him I was a musician, and he was like, "Oh, can I buy some of your merch?" And I was like,
what a weird thing to say.
Yeah. Okay. So we bought a T-shirt.
Yeah.
And he was like, so what are we doing now? I was like, you gotta go.
Yeah. Right.
This was odd.
Yeah. It's like, well, what are we gonna do now? Well, you can go home and throw it in the washing machine, and then wear it when you go to the grocery store, and have a good day.
See you later. This was odd.
Yeah. No, it is. But I think the only way to overcome that is just being who you are and just to like, and I'm sure you've had way more positive, I don't want to put anything on you, but I mean, for me, I've had way more positive experiences than negative ones with like playing shows and abroad. And I'm sure it's the same way for you,
It is. I would say like 90% are great.
Yep.
90% of my shows. Can I tell you a story?
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
I had my worst show ever like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Ever in my life. I cried halfway through. I cried halfway home. I was like, this is the worst show I've ever played. And it wasn't even my playing, not to be conceited, but it
wasn't even that.
Objectively speaking.
So I got booked like 6 hours beforehand for this gig. I was like, okay. I had heard of the bar once, but I never played there. And it was in Purcell, Oklahoma.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah. And I'd never been there before either. It's a very small town. And so I get to the show and I'm like, well, this looks nice. It's, cute little dive bar. It's got a great sound system. So I got all set up, started playing. And I was like, people are pretty quiet. Like, this is odd. Not that, people being quiet is bad, but it was strange.
Felt odd.
And so I played a cover song, Cage the Elephant, Ain't No Rest for the Wicked.
Oh, yeah.
And the bartender said, yeah, play some more stuff like that. And I was like,
ooh.
Okay. And then one fucking lady covered her ears, like plugged her ears and started shit talking as loud as she could while I was playing.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh, really? So we're doing this, huh? I'd never had that happen before, ever. And the bartender, she came up to me. She was like, hey, I'm so sorry. The lady that booked you, she didn't tell you that we're a country bar. And I was like, no, I play one country song.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Okay, now I play two. But that's it. And so she's like, yeah, I've got your check if you just want to go home.
Ooh.
This is like halfway into my show, 3-hour show. And I was like, oh, hi. Do you want to say hi? Come here. Oh,
special guest. Oh.
Yeah. Moonshine.
Hello, pretty.
she's a pretty cat.
So
pretty.
She's definitely an exhibitionist. I was playing a Facebook Live show one time. She jumped down, showed her butthole to the camera for a full 10 seconds, and walked away. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, internet cats.
Worst show ever. And I talked to the lady afterwards. I was like, hey, I don't know if I should say this.
Say all of it, girl. Say what you want.
Well, so I walked up to her and I was like, hey, does it make you feel good to make other people feel bad while they're getting paid to play here?
Right.
She said, I paid my dues. This is my bar. I can do what the fuck I want. And I said, oh, okay. And you didn't just want to leave? She said the exact same thing. I paid my dues. I was like, okay. And then I don't want to say this word on here, but I called her the C word straight to her face. I've never done that. Never done that in my entire life. And I just walked out. And then this lady came running after me and she said, hey, this is from the people that really did like you, and handed me like a wad of money. And I just bawled. I was like, you're so nice.
Yeah.
Oh, it was crazy. The weirdest show experience of my life.
Sounds
and
like
I played little tiny towns, big cities, all over the U.S. So strange.
Yeah,
that's what you get for messing around in the middle there, kiddo.
Well,
that middle of them Americas is some freaky deek.
Well,
Bible Belt.
Bible Belt. Ring, ding, 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 ding.
Well, and I'm so glad.
Take it, America.
Yeah, I'm glad we're talking about this because this is the kind of conversation that literally only musicians have with other musicians, because
that's true.
Not only are part of entertaining people is a little bit being in like the customer service business, I feel.
Yes.
And we have a little bit of a differing philosophy on this, where like we've talked about this, where I think I'm a little bit more considerate of, like, especially if it's like
of everything.
Well, yeah, but like especially when it comes to original music, I'm not like, I don't write stuff or play music with like, oh, I want everybody in the audience to like it. But it's like, whoever would be interested in this, I hope they like it, in a crowd.
Yeah.
Where you're like the opposite of like, I'm doing this for me and you can come along if you want, but kind of not fuck everybody else, but you know what I'm saying.
You're going to be subjected to it either way is the way I like to think of it. I was like, you're going to feel it. And if you like it, then win-win.
Yeah. If somebody doesn't enjoy it in the audience, you can find enjoyment in that for yourself.
Did any of us go through all the effort it took to get there for like the one person's opinion that doesn't like it? Like, no, I've never been convinced of that.
Right. So this is the kind of stuff where if you have a bad gig experience, that like the next time that like me and him would get together, we would talk about that, about the one person in the crowd. Or, it's like we have these conversations among like our peers and friends and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's so important because those are the moments that nobody wants to talk about or have on their highlight reel. Nobody wants to go like,
of course.
I had a lady plug her ears and loudly talk over me while I was trying to play. And this was you solo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had that happen where in cover band situations, there's somebody that was just heckling for like one artist that we didn't have in our set the whole night. So like,
oh my gosh,
where it's like, it was always like, play this person over and over again. And would say that repeatedly during the set whenever there was a moment of silence of like,
you know what that makes me want to do? Never play that person.
Oh,
Never play that.
No, and you can't play to those people, and sometimes it's such a nuisance you have to address it, but sometimes it's not related to anything you're doing at all. It's that person is there at that specific moment in time and space, and they're not in a good mood, and they're going to be like that no matter what's going on, And I don't know. I don't know if you could talk a little bit more about that, or if you've had other experiences
like your way of dealing
that.
With it,
I mean, that was specifically your worst show. Has there been other moments like that where you've been able to deal with it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like the time that I was telling you about the guy yelling out from the crowd how I was making him hard or whatever.
Right.
And I literally just told him on the mic, because you have to have that like almost like you're joking, but you're very serious. So nobody else in the crowd like starts getting upset.
Yeah.
And so I told him on the mic, like, hey, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And everybody laughed instead of it causing more of an issue.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've never in my life called anybody the C word except for this one lady.
Yeah.
Ever. So it took a lot for me to get to that point. So I think it's you have to be very intuitive about how you handle situations.
Absolutely.
No matter what it is. I hope I'm answering this right.
No,
like,
that's a good answer.
Yeah, you can't have a playbook of like, this is how I deal with this specific person, because
this is how we do it.
Yeah.
No?
this is how we do it.
Yeah. It would be, you'd add like a little asterisk and you go sometimes,
Asterisk.
but sometimes you get like, I've never heard anybody have one that bold, or at least like anybody I know have one that bold, where it's
Yeah, never. Like usually if somebody doesn't like it, they'll leave, or, I'll switch to a genre that I think they might like better, because I do want my crowd to be happy. I want everybody to be happy. I'm very much a people pleaser.
Yeah.
But if you're going to be that much of a bitch, get out.
Well, yeah. And also it's like, I don't know. We've been dealing with all of this, COVID and no gigs and craziness and all of that. And with where you're at, it's like, okay, we can start doing the gig thing, and we're trying it out, and things are kind of coming back to normal where you're at. And
although our COVID cases are higher than ever.
Yeah. So there's a lot of craziness and turmoil going on that musicians are trying to deal with and navigate. And I don't know, this isn't really, the best time to be like a heckler. Not that there ever was one, but it's like,
it's so real, bro.
If someone claps back at you like that right now, well, maybe think about who you're poking a stick at before you decide to do some
you're
stupid
poking
shit
bears,
like that.
okay?
Yeah, literally.
You're poking bears.
Yeah. Don't let that.
Canadian.
Yeah. Don't let that.
Poking bears.
Poking bears.
Yeah. Don't let that smile and that laugh fool you. It's like, Rachel, don't take no shit off nobody.
No.
Yeah.
I have a lot of patience, but oof. And I did end up writing the lady that booked me, because I was like, hey, this happened. I said what I said. I'm not trying to have you get any backlash from it. And she goes, oh, someone needed to call her that. I know exactly who you're talking about. I was like, oh, okay.
Everybody's happy
that
with
went well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and
he doesn't know how to process that, I think.
No, I'm thinking about.
You even told the person who hired you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, this has just made me think about like all of the times that I've been gigging, and just stuff like this has come up that I guess are Spinal Tap moments, for lack of a better word, for a reference that everybody can understand.
Yeah.
And not that I've been in a band that big, but it's just moments where that stuff like that happens. And I've been playing gigs at fairgrounds where people come up to you, and there's multiple stages, and it's like I was filling in for a country band, and somebody came up to the band that worked for the fair and said, hey, the hypnotist on that stage over there says you're too loud. You need to turn down. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry. Is it like, is our music disturbing your parlor tricks that are going on over there?
A good hypnotist would never say something like
that. Yeah. Or was doing a gig with my cover band, and there was they were selling snow cones. It was at a school. And there was like, it was a back to school like event, and there was bounce houses around, and like it was like a fundraiser thing, and we were there because our singer, knew the people that were running it, and it was like, yeah, sure, we'll play this. This is like for a good little local cause, and like let's do this. And someone from the school came up to us while we were playing Heartbreaker from Pat Benatar, and then stopped us and said, hey, like, pull the plug, like stop playing. We're thinking like there's an emergency, like there's a lost kid, or there's like some really important announcement. And she gets on the mic and she goes, all right, everybody, last call for the shaved ice machine. He's going to be leaving in a couple minutes. Last call if anybody wants shaved ice. And then she goes, all right, go back to doing what you're doing. And then me and the drummer were literally looking at each other like we didn't know what to say. It wasn't even.
You can wait till the end of the song.
Yeah, and just moments like that we have to deal with sometimes with gigs where it's just, nobody else. I don't know. It's hard to get those moments of like those really moments that come up. Like it's hard to describe
totally
those.
Unexpected. Like
yeah.
Who would have thought that was going to happen?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. This is something that's come up thematically in a couple of episodes so far. I think is like the struggle we have, like even with the people we're trying to serve as musicians.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's you gave me flashbacks to things I don't want to talk about, frankly.
Well,
anyway.
I don't know. I was kind of bringing it up so we can kind of have a little bit of a.
We're supposed to get cathartic right now. Is
yeah,
that what's happening?
a little bit, if that's all right.
The only thing that happens is like things that were way beyond bad. Those are the ones I remember most. I was like, when you talk about school, I was like, Dead Rats played a local high school one time, like a spring festival, and that turned into a riot.
Oh, your punk band.
Yeah, that turned into a riot, and not because of anything we did. Kids were just like, fast music is great, and they just turned into a tornado of
That's
chairs
crazy.
and tables flying everywhere. Like it was just like not to be believed. And I wasn't high school age. We were older,
Yeah.
so it was like we were also scared for our lives. It was great.
Where was this?
It was Palmdale High School.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
It was a local high school that I have a lot of affinity for that I didn't go to.
Okay. Fair enough.
You guys, you know
good
who
times.
Bane is? The band Bane?
No.
No.
Okay, so one of my boyfriend's favorite bands ever, and they just did a documentary. And there are so many parts in it where people are doing like the mosh pit thing, like they're jumping up on the stage and jumping out. And I was just like, I know this is a thing, but I could never imagine doing that or being a part of it as the band playing, dealing with this chaos surrounding them. It was crazy to me. Have you guys ever had that happen to you?
Well, you never played a
Mosh
show
pits or
like that, or
anything?
been to a hardcore show or metal
No.
show or anything? Oh, okay, yeah, no,
I
that's
haven't.
like shows that you go to every weekend for sure.
You guys are crazy.
Yeah,
That was,
those are good old days.
I mean, yeah, I recently I haven't played in any bands that have done that, but growing up I did. And
I can't imagine.
yeah, and I never had crazy pits, but like even getting 4 or 5 of your friends to like start one just made you feel like you were so badass, even though
That's
it was,
amazing.
yeah.
That's true.
And yeah, I don't know. I've always wanted to be in a really crazy band like that or play crazy shows, but at the same
Really?
time, I don't know. I think it depends on your personality. You kind of have to be,
Yes.
wanting that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, I agree. It's like it's a meeting of certain things that you can't really plan for. I think it's
Yeah.
like I know that I was just like I got swept up in the scene and enjoyed the idea of it all immensely, but definitely wasn't a plan to be like, oh, once I get in a band, then I'll be where everything's going nuts. Like I was just like a buddy of mine was like, dude, this guy could play guitar. You should try out for a band. I was like, I do want to be in a band, and I saw what they played. I was like, oh, that's gnarly. I was like, might as well try this. Okay, might as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, and then away we go.
Yeah, and then it just kind of happens. Like I was definitely in a lot of mosh pits when I saw bands when I was younger. Anytime I went to a show, I would want to like mosh at least a few times.
Now have you stage dived though?
No,
Dove in?
I've crowd surfed where they pick you up
Yeah.
and then like from the crowd and then they'll carry you until
Sure.
they can't
I
hold you
want to
anymore.
do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun. I've only done it one time, and I like did it. I'm like, all right, that's enough for me. And it was when I was 18.
That sounds wild.
So yeah, it was like,
It'd be funny to watch you get so quickly passed above a crowd.
Well-
It's just so long and lightweight.
yeah,
Like
no,
watching balsa wood fly across human hands.
yeah, it was. And like I landed on my tailbone, and I was
Oh.
young. Yeah, and it was like I don't know. It was that age when you can just kind of bounce up, and it's not a big deal.
yeah.
And I'm still
Oh,
within
God.
that bracket, but I
You
I
are.
also I don't want to test it. I'm also just
am
like
not.
I did it once. I'm good.
What? Yeah, you are.
I've-
You're the youngest among us.
I've broken so many bones.
Oh, really?
So many. Mostly from skateboarding, but
Oh,
I think I would just shatter if that happened to me.
Right.
dude. So you go pretty hard when you skate, I guess, right? You've been skating a long
No.
time, or
No
you just
one
fall down good?
No one ever taught me how to fall. And so
Oh.
when I fell straight out.
Yeah, dude.
And
Oof.
the first time I broke this elbow, and the second time, 3 months later, I broke both of them.
Ah.
Fell the exact same way.
Yeah.
It was so stupid.
That's kind of going back to talking about how you grew up, right? It sounds like
Yeah.
probably a lot of brothers in the house and like that whole kind of environment.
No, I was I was pretty shy. I only have a little brother and a little sister. And so this was in college.
Oh, okay.
Huh.
Yeah. I broke, okay, I'm going to tell you. It's real quick.
Okay,
I'm
go
very
for it.
All right.
evenly broken. I broke both my middle fingers.
Hey.
This one in a car door, this one in a car window.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And I remember trying to pray when I was little because, very churchy, Bible Belt. And so, we'd usually do this. And I was like,
Yeah.
because they had the splints on them.
Yeah.
This one from flipping a four-wheeler. when I was
wow.
growing up.
Wow.
Yeah, I was waving at the dog in the window and accidentally pressed the gas and flipped it.
Oh no.
Oh my God. Okay.
I got into a campfire fight and I punched someone in the head and I broke this wrist, and then both elbows. And then I had a dream I could ride a unicycle, and so I bought a unicycle, and then I cracked my tailbone. I cannot ride unicycles, turns out. That's it. The end. That's all my broken bones.
Had to learn that lesson the hard way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some crazy shit.
Yeah.
But never a mosh pit. I'm scared of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, you know what? It's I think one time in your life.
One time.
Yeah, one time it's good to jump in there just to say you did it.
Right.
Yeah. I
Just
think,
once.
Yeah. I think if you go to the right environment, you'll have a good time.
Find a nice
I'm
soft mosh pit.
excited.
A beginner's mosh pit. They're labeled.
Yeah.
When you go
Beginner's
to
mosh
festivals.
pit.
Yeah.
They call it buddy
Like,
slope, buddy pit.
It's like,
Super
yeah,
weenie
the bunny
hut mosh
slope
pit.
of mosh pits. That's so good.
Yeah.
It'll feel just
I
right.
love that idea.
Yeah. Well, I think
They should do that.
certain bands that kind of like, I don't know, certain bands are more of like.
I almost feel like it
mosh
could be a
pit.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say anything in like rock bands where they'll mosh more, like classic metal. Like if you were to go see like Iron Maiden or something.
Right. If you find a vintage metal act, you're going to find the right amount of getting jostled.
Yeah. Now like
Not too hard, not too soft.
now like Metallica, as far as mosh pits goes,
they're
that-
traditionally hard, though.
Well, yeah, but I was gonna say that's kind of on the borderline of like if this is a Hot Ones scale, this is like a 5, to where it's like, ooh, this, yeah,
4 to 5, that's fair.
yeah, it's because
Scale I understand.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
it's like you're starting to get into like you might get your lip split open
You
potentially.
might get your lips split open.
Yeah, you got to watch out. Those can be a little bit rough, but yeah, you got to. There's a
is what
band
it
for
is.
you out there. You'll
Yeah.
find
And
it.
I already hit my mouth enough on my microphone because I close my eyes when I sing.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I'll just be
then
like, ugh, fucking smash. And you can hear it. And it's always funny.
Rachel Smash.
I just turn blue. Like,
Oh, wow.
"Aw."
That's a new
Sad.
kind of Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to be green. That's so stereotypical.
Right?
Hey, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, I was
This is
gonna.
a she's Hulk. Yeah. You're raising the hand,
well-
the obligatory hand of you can take a turn.
Yeah, this
I
is
love
the,
it.
the hand of segues, passing
of
it over to
segues.
you.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
So it seems like you've done your research with this band and you are a fan and you've done your listening to it. I wanted to get your take on the music and if you had any questions on like the songwriting and the whole process and all that.
I got a few questions.
Well, lay
I'm
it
so
I
out.
got a few
excited.
questions. So I'll start with my simplest ones first because I remember them best. You have a really remarkable voice, my dear. You're a great singer.
Thank you.
And I was just wondering, it feels like somebody who's like lived in their voice and sang for a long time. Did you grow up singing, doing churchy stuff and whatnot? Because I get that vibe from you a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely. So I grew up in the Trinity Lutheran Church. I started singing around like 5. I came home and I sang something from the radio for my parents. They were like, "How did you learn that?" And I said, "I listened to it once." And they were like, "Okay, we're gonna get you some voice lessons." And I said, "Okay." So my mom had this blind lady from church, Janice. I can't remember her last name, but Janice, and she played piano remarkably. It was crazy. So she gave me voice lessons for a couple years. And then my music teacher from high school, in Hinton High School, you wouldn't have heard of it. It's a very tiny town. And
I have now.
She was amazing, Miss Challoner, and she is the one that really got me into like vocal competitions and singing like awesome Latin stuff.
Oh,
and
cool.
It was really neat. So I grew up singing and just kind of got better and better and found my own sound, which was a lot of fun.
It shows. It
Yeah.
definitely shows.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Do you recall how, at what age you wrote like your first song, like all the way through, like, here's a song for y'all?
Yeah.
Yeah. You have a
I think
title,
I
working title
was-
too?
Oh, I don't remember the very first one, but I had written it as a duet, but I didn't have anyone to sing it with, so I just sang both parts. And I was 14. But one of the earliest ones that I actually recorded is on my first like little tiny album. What's it called? An EP.
Mm-hmm.
And that's called Mad Blues. I wrote it about a boy. And yeah, so you can listen to that one. I put that album on Spotify.
Oh, cool.
Oh, sweet.
Interesting. It's
Hell's
every
yeah.
song is like maybe 2 minutes long or a minute and a half. They're so short because I didn't understand, like nobody taught me how to write songs. And so I was just like, well, I just put some words together and some music to it and that's it. And so I didn't have like a standard like verse, chorus, chorus. And so that's kind of, I've learned that along the way. So some of my songs are like that. And then others, you know, it's just kind of mashed together a little bit weird.
Right.
Yeah.
Wowzers. What's the influence from lyrics and such? Because, I mean, there's, you guys have to go stream the record. Like, there's I would say do the Hang of It, the record where it's just you singing with guitar.
My solo, yeah.
Yeah, that solo is, it's super affecting because the test of a song's quality for me as a songwriter too is like how minimally can it get across all the nuance of a complete song. Yeah. Because a lot of times I'll admit, like as being a deft multi-instrumentalist, I like to hide a lot of the songs like rough spots in arrangement. And you know, that album doesn't leave any room for that. And it's just a great listen and amazing lyrics. And I'm like, it sounds like you had a little isolation growing up. I was like, where did you decide to write lyrics about like snorting when you giggle, which like only the coolest, sweetest people do, and you do it a lot, obviously. And then where do you come up with? I mean, like I'm like, how are you the person who comes up with the line about like, you know, okay, a lightweight with tequila. Who knew I'd be friends with my pot dealer? Who knew that friends come and go? And my failure is inevitable. Yeah. I'm like, where did you get so deep so fast? And who made you this way? Any ideas?
Well, so, I mean, I grew up, this all stems from that, of course, but I grew up in El Reno. My parents had like a little plot of land, so it was out of the city. And then I went to school in Hinton, which was 30 minutes away. And it was even smaller than El Reno. So I would stay at home, I would go to school, and we'd drive back. And that was pretty much it. So I just had like my siblings and my parents. And so growing up with that and then finally getting into like this bigger world. And I mean, I've dealt with my bouts of depression. So that is, you know, it's definitely in there. Mm-hmm. Like my favorite song that I wrote about that is Hard to Breathe. But I've always been a very optimistic person, pretty happy. And so combining those two worlds is really important for me because it's like Robin Williams, you know, you can make everybody laugh and then be so severely depressed yourself. So having those two together and getting all those emotions out can really help you. That's how I dealt with my depression when I did have it. So,
yeah, that's a great point. I think, you know, we can both relate to that. And, you know, there's so many people.
Sad boys.
Yeah.
BOIs.
Yeah, BOIs. Thank you. Yeah, BOIZ. No, it's, you know, I think that we try to, and I was actually just thinking about this on the way over here because I was having, you know, just to peek behind the curtain a little bit. I get these weird, and I don't know if you're this way too, being a songwriter, but, you know, I wouldn't consider myself a songwriter, but I write, you know, written pieces and stories and things like that, and I write music. And so you know, I get weird, moody, reflective, introspective days that can usually lead to some sort of depression. And today was kind of one of those days on the way over here. And I don't know, I feel like the only way we can really overcome that, I mean, I wouldn't say the only way, but the main way we think of to overcome it is to like channel it into our work and like, and like with what we write 100. And what we do, because
or a lot of therapy.
Yeah.
And one is much cheaper.
Yeah. Well, and that
performs a similar function, I'd say.
Yeah. And it's, you know, and not to put therapy down at all because I have a lot of friends.
No, I still need it.
Therapy is amazing.
I'm not saying I don't need it. Yeah.
I'm just saying songwriting is cheaper. That's it. I love therapy.
Yeah. And it's I think with songwriting too, it's more in your wheelhouse, and like not everybody can, you know, necessarily have the verbal acuity to like get their thoughts and feelings out of like, I'm just going to tell this person, whether they're an expert or a friend, like this is how I'm feeling about something. And so when you have a piece of paper, you have a guitar, you have sheet music, you have, I don't know, a blank notepad that you draw in, whatever it is. It's like that is a lot easier to just, your imagination is kind of already filling in the empty spaces in your mind already. And so it's really easy to go, oh, well, the air is empty space or the paper is empty space. Like, I can easily just put this down here. I know how to draw. I don't know how to express how I'm feeling, but I can draw. You know, I don't know if like you can relate to any of that or if that's just rambling on over here.
No, that's what I do though, is like sometimes I'll be in a specific mood, whether it's like sad or happy or silly, and I'll have like a line in my head, like what's one of those songs? It was, I think it was Hard to Breathe. And I had this line in my head all day about how I felt. So I went home and wrote it down, and I was like, oh, okay, this is a good start. And it just flows from there usually. But writing it down for me, that's what I do. Sometimes it's really hard to find music to fit it.
Yeah.
And so I'll just have like my notebook has so many pages written in it of whatever I was feeling at the time. And sometimes I'll go back and put some music to it. And other times it's just like, oh, it's there. You know, it's out of my head and onto the paper, and that feels good.
Yeah.
Out of my head onto the paper. That feels good.
The Rachel Lynch story. This is
Right?
NPR.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love that.
Yeah. But, no, it's I think it is just first and foremost, like you do have to get it out of your head so you feel better, at least. So like if anything, you could be more focused on like maybe a song or a project or an idea that like you have more of a vision for, if anything, just to get it out of the way. So that way you can go like, okay, it's out. And then you can proceed.
On that topic, it makes me think of the song Antagonizer, that first song on the record. And I'm just like, another masterful stroke right out the gate. This is a song about how I'm not going to take your shit. You're going to have to, it's like, pay me so I stop playing this wrong noted chord. And it's really just imagine a nice regular C triad, and then you add one note to make it go, bang.
It's literally
I'm like,
G,
was that inspired by the lady?
It
Couldn't have been. No, this is prior to. This is all prior to. Was there another experience that, like, was gig experience what brought that idea about? Or was that just a concept that you had one day sitting around like, oh, people?
Oh, people. Yeah. It was a concept. And I was like, because I was playing my guitar one time and I had accidentally scooted to the wrong note. And I was like, I like that. And then going into like, so, you know, I may call you a motherfucker. I'll say fuck you.
That's
but
my
what
line,
I really mean is I love you. Yeah. And I love, because I am like that. I say a lot of bad words, but what's in my heart is just so much love.
Yeah.
And whereas I may act tough sometimes, I get my feelings hurt just like everybody else. And I liked going into like the fears and who I really am, because I feel like that song is me.
Yeah.
And I always play it at the end of my shows because I just think it's so funny, and it's kind of short too. And you'd be surprised at how often it works to get a good tip.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, it's a winner. I'm just like, I could just see people going, oh, yeah, you know what? We hadn't really put any money out here. It's great to put
And
at the end
also,
of the set, for real.
I fucking hate that note.
Yeah, they're like, and I'd pay to stop this, you know?
Yep.
It's a sharp one. It's sour.
No, it's got the shtick element in there that I love, you know, whenever anybody can do that. But it's also, I find that people remember beginnings of shows usually, and they'll remember endings. So, like, if there's a really strong opener and an ending, and then the middle is like, as long as it stays good, you're not necessarily, unless there's a distinct moment, you may or may not remember it. But I feel like even if you've had a set where you feel like, you know, it's going okay, if you have a strong closer like that, it ups your overall show and what people take away and remember from it by like so much. I mean, I don't have a scientific rating of, you know, measurement, but that's just what I found from playing gigs.
Oh, yeah.
I agree. By oodles even. There you go. There's your scientific measurement.
By oodles, like 7 metric oodles.
2.5 oodles.
Not the English oodles.
Of encouragement.
Not those English oodles.
UDOZZZ. I don't know. I think
and
that's how you spell
so much that you asked about my lyrics because I don't get to talk about them often enough. And what I focus on more, because I didn't have a band until 2 years ago. So what I focused on more was just the lyrics, how I sang them. I mean, obviously guitar too, but my strength has always been singing.
Sure.
So I hate it when you can't understand somebody when they're singing. And not my English teacher, my vocal teacher was really intent on your enunciation and like, how you say everything. And she was intense on not having our Oklahoma accent while we sing. And I think that helped a lot. Yeah.
Okay. What is the Oklahoma accent? Because
well, it kind of sounds like this.
Yeah, it's like a Trace Atkins.
It's not quite Texas, and it's
No.
not
quite as shorter.
Yeah, it's not the South, but it is.
Not the South.
It's its own unique thing. I can't.
It's a lot
yeah.
of when when she was teaching us to sing, she would say, okay, so instead of like having your mouth wider, like, you talk like this, make everything like longer instead of wider. So you sound like this instead of like this.
Like this. Well, now all I want to do is sound, instead of like this, I want to sound like this.
Yeah. I know, who doesn't?
Who doesn't want to sound like this? Hey. Let's go watch Rachel play tonight. She's going to go play a show with that dive bar, that shithole down the road.
Yeah. I may call you motherfucker. I like having my country accent sometimes. Like if I do play a country song, like Mama's Broken Heart. Who's that by?
Miranda
Lambert.
Yeah, you're fast.
Yeah. So if I sing that, sometimes I'll get a little bit of that accent in there, and I'm like, this is fun. I never do this.
Right.
Snort.
Do the barflies and the Baptists.
Yep.
It's so funny.
The Okies from Muskogee.
Okies from Muskogee.
Oh, God.
Place where
I
Merle.
lived in Muskogee for a year.
The Whirling Merle.
A place where even squares can have a ball, apparently.
That joke always got old.
I know. I was gonna say, like, driving through, just going along the 40 and like passing it on the freeway. I'm a goober that lives in California that also likes country music, so I go, I've seen that word before, and like,
Wow.
but if you don't live, like, if you live there, I imagine that would be quite tiresome. Like if your name was Layla and you had to hear that guitar riff all the time.
Well, and
my name's Stairway to Heaven, and I get so sick of it.
it's like the Freebird joke.
Yeah.
I wrote a song because I was mad about that. Because every time somebody would say Freebird, I was like, you know what? Okay, here you go. And it said, there once was a bird. He was not in jail. He was a free bird.
Yeah.
Suck a dick.
Yeah. That's all you get.
Unless you got
That's a tasty
$100
riff,
bill.
though. That's tasty.
It's
You
not
can,
bad.
you can whip it up a little bit. That's some mashed taters.
I found the easiest way to curtail the Freebird is that
How do you stop this bird of free?
you play it. You play the whole thing.
Yeah, we did that
No.
once before too. But people who ask for Freebird don't have the irony and aren't equipped to enjoy 8 minutes.
No.
I've done it twice in my life at 2 dive bar gigs, and
Have you really?
and both times it was an "Are you sure?" And then they go Freebird, and then by the time you're 4 or 5 minutes in, the smile has left their face.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The laughs have stopped, except for on my end of things where I think this is hilarious
Yeah.
because
Absolutely.
Yeah,
As
so-
you should.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just I haven't done it a lot, but the 2 times I've done it, you make sure that like.
Well, they got what they deserved. Because it's
Also-
assholes trying to be funny when it's like, guys, that bit has been done. This
Oh,
bit has been served before.
It's been overdone.
It's
That is
been
overbaked.
Oh yeah,
overbaked.
Or the one that like I get like
That was
in
like
a
Scottish.
yeah right when I'm working and then people like I say, oh, can you give me a hand? And people start doing this. It's like,
All right, motherfucker,
yeah,
get out.
that I mean, that joke is like way like that joke is like deader than
If I wasn't in
Freebird.
pain, I'd laugh.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah, exactly.
Help me.
Yeah, so,
So I don't actually know how to play Freebird, but I tell them if they put $100 in the tip jar, I'll play it. Nobody's ever done it so
We
far.
all
My
say
friend,
that.
I know.
Nobody-
My friend Ben Brock, he's gotten paid twice, $100 each time, and he's actually played it. And I was like, good for you. All right. I was there for one of it, and I was like, I'm going to go to the bathroom.
yeah, it's a good time too.
Have fun. Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you're not feeling good, like it's that long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny that we're talking about all these different genres because I was wondering, what would you call your music? Because like you definitely have some country influence in there and like, I guess Americana, but it's also like, there's some songs on that album that are really poppy and like really have like hooks
Really
and they're
poppy.
like, yeah, like.
Are you talking about my band album or my solo one?
Talking about Daydrinkers?
I was going to say, yeah, the Rachel Lynch and the Daydrinkers, just because that's
Okay.
mainly what I've listened to.
Because and there's such a difference between them, hearing what I did solo versus the band. Like if you've listened to Wrecked, it is insanely different.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's played so fast with the boys too. So I have a good answer for the solo album.
Okay.
I call it funny folk.
Okay.
Just because
Fun
it's
folk.
silly.
Yeah.
It's a little bit folkish. But for the boys, I think we decided on, what was it? Indie rock? I don't know. We decided on something.
There was a real
Americana.
transformation, right? Did it feel like, was it just a natural thing of what happened when these guys
Yes.
joined you and played what you wrote? Okay.
And they were a
That's
band
cool.
before.
Oh, neat.
That's right.
And
I
they
remember that.
lost their lead singer. And I was like, hi. Me and the drummer
He
had
didn't
worked
die, did
together. Huh?
You're not supposed to take over a band if the lead singer died. It didn't
No,
die,
no,
did
no,
he?
no.
Okay, cool.
No, he went to
Doesn't be
rehab.
cursed to walk this band forever.
Yeah, and so the drummer that I'd worked
There we
with, he was like, "Yeah, we lost your lead singer, so do you need a band?" And I said, "Yes, that sounds like fun." Also, my timing is fucking shit, so please help me
Aw.
because I had never been used to it or learned to play with a metronome.
It's a
And so
challenge.
doing my own timing, as you can tell on that album,
white
did
folks.
not go well.
Well, it's all skill set, because
Yeah.
there's people that can accompany themselves and can create different rhythms and songs that, like, for a band is like, how do you do that? And then, vice versa. There's bands that can create moments that, for people just as solo performers, it's two different lanes and,
Yeah.
it benefits each other, because you've gotten better timing with your band. You can kind of manipulate and control that a little bit better and, come up with.
It's helped my solo stuff so much. It's crazy.
Yep.
So learning to play with them and then realizing like, excuse me,
Yes,
God
realizing
bless you.
like what our sound was turning into. It was so cool to hear it happen. And I love playing with them so much. We've had like 3 shows together all during this pandemic. It's been slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the band is pretty cool. I've listened to the solo record over and over and over, and I liked it. And I started doing what you shouldn't do, comparing the versions of songs, because a song like Haunt, dude, that got me like the first listen. Like I listened to that song probably like 30 times like
Haunt?
this week. Yeah, Haunt.
Oh,
Yeah.
that makes me so happy.
It's just a
That
really
was-
magical song, dude.
Yeah.
And then the band
Yeah.
version, like I kind of went into it like, and I don't usually go into like band things like, oh, I'll be prejudiced, but I was like, this is not gonna be like as like, and it was different. It felt different to me, but it was almost like, I was like, wow, it's like they have their own sound already though. That's really
Yeah.
neat because it's like I had hints of indie bands I like, but I couldn't pinpoint it. And at the end of the day, it's still Haunt. It didn't like totally do it, but your vocal feels a little different because again, kind of getting like moved into a framework where you're less free with your time like you could be when you were by yourself. That changed the
Yes.
feel a little bit, but I thought that would be kind of a real game changer, and it wasn't. So kudos to you guys.
It's so interesting, and I love that song. So I'm really glad you like it too.
Heck yeah. Good one,
It
dude.
was a hard time in my life when I wrote that. My
you
best
can feel
friend, he had kind of disappeared from my life. He was my cousin, and it was a bad time. So I loved that song and being able to get those feelings out. What you were talking about earlier, so with the band, I had to get used to actually putting time. Sorry, cat left. I had to actually get used to putting time in between my verses and my choruses for like lead guitar stuff or other things to happen for like a fill-in with the drummer. And solo stuff, I don't like having dead air. Almost like, of course my guitar is still playing, but I'm not saying anything, and it's so strange. So that was a whole thing to get used to. Just a random thought.
Yeah.
No, that's
Right.
cool. That's a great insight because it's, again, when you hear the two side by side, because a lot of it's not like every song was on the same record. You guys have kind of condensed the record down a bit
Yeah.
to like 11 songs total, I think. But again, it's like you start off with the idea of a comparison, but you just kind of enjoy the different treatments of, again, it's your songs. But yeah, when these guys step up, it takes it to a different level, like for sure.
Yeah.
Next level, as the kids are saying, I think.
Yeah.
It's not played out yet.
That's a bop, apparently.
Yeah.
You don't have to yeet it. I learned what that meant the other day.
There you go.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
so up on our
Thank
shit, you guys.
Yeah.
We're so good.
I'm a cool dad.
Yeah.
Can I ask you what you thought of Hard to Breathe? That was one of my favorite songs. If you listened to it, if you didn't, it's okay. But that one was one of my favorites because all the boys got to join in on some of the background vocals.
Oh, really?
It's a lot of fun.
I didn't listen to that one.
Oh,
I skipped
listen
over
to
that.
it
I went
after?
straight. Okay, I will.
And tell me what you think.
You got it.
because
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Well, and I wanted to say something too, just nerding out about you know the
Do it.
music. I wouldn't say I'm a stickler, but it's something I pay attention to is the production on just albums and things like that, and just overall how this sounds and the vibe it creates with like not just the arrangement, but with like how things are mixed and the whole overall picture of like what makes an album. And the band album, which is what I've listened to the most with just everything, sounds so good and has like so many like dynamics in it between songs and just it's got a layer of polish on it that I wasn't necessarily like expecting to hear in a good way of
Thank you.
it just I don't know, it sounds like stuff that I could hear like on the radio to me. And it was just like it had that polish to it. So how
let me tell you.
yeah, I want to hear about it.
We recorded it twice. The first time we recorded everything. We had like one vocal track left to do and the drive got corrupted and we didn't have a backup. Yeah. And then we recorded everything again. So it took us almost a year to finish everything. So thank you. That means a lot to all of us.
Wow.
Yeah. Do you think that was more of a blessing than a curse of like, hey, I'm glad we redid it? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Because we got to do it in our friend's new studio the second time. So yeah, it was definitely worth it. But it was a long road.
Yeah. Was that out in Oklahoma, that studio?
Oh yeah.
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 Is that the name
it's
of
called
it?
Class and Recorders.
Okay.
And they're fucking great. Dwight Hamlin did all of our stuff, and he has a band himself, the White Lighters, I think. Yeah.
Like from Charmed?
The White Lighters?
Yeah.
No, it's just like the Bic lighters that no one ever wants to use because they're white. No.
Oh, I don't know.
Just kidding.
I was gonna say if there's a Charmed reference in there, I would definitely be way over my head on that.
Yeah.
No, I
watched
never
too much
watched
TV growing
that.
up. Yeah.
Let's
keep moving.
Yeah.
And moving on.
The hand of segues.
So yeah, right. We need that hand to segue.
Yeah.
Now. Holy Jesus.
But yeah, no, I really love the production on it, and I just think it's cool to hear all of those songs done in that way, like with the studio, sort of aspect that you had to it, and with the full band doing the arrangement, because I don't know, especially another track that comes to mind is Crazy, which like, I love the whole first half of that song that's really kind of sort of ambient and like introspective, and then the band comes in and it's like, I don't know, it just seems like there was real thought into how all of these songs were put together, and it wasn't just like, I don't know, we're just playing this, but like consideration of like, when different instruments come in and like all of the aspects of arranging. So
we talked about all of it so much on each song separately, trying to figure out like, okay, bass and drums should come in first, or like Crazy, where I just start singing. And the boys make fun of me every fucking time because the first note I do, I hit this like gravelly spot in my voice. So I go, and then I hit it. And so every time we start that, my drummer goes, Shut the fuck up, Nick. But yeah.
I'm expressing myself through the majesty of song.
Yeah, shut the fuck up. Get out of here. And it's so much fun. We try to make every song sound just a little bit different. Like, so we've got Sundays where it's really jazzy. We've got Wrecked, which is more like a harder rock. And then going to like Honeybee, which is kind of like sweet. It's so much fun. I do have a good band. I love them boys.
Nice.
They're fun.
Yeah. Are y'all working on, are they now part of the original songwriting process, or have you guys had an opportunity
We haven't
for that
tried to yet.
No?
It's been such a weird year, and
why? Everything's normal. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Oklahoma.
Oh, I had to do it one time.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll leave.
I want drum and bass Oklahoma now.
Yeah. You're gonna say, don't
Hey,
worry.
You guys gotta come here. It's fun.
Oh, I want to come.
What's the funnest thing to do? I mean, we want to come, obviously. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know. What would you say is the funnest thing to do? Like, what are your top
5 funnest?
Top 5 funnest
man.
things.
Okay, first off, when my very first date with my boyfriend, I took him to the Omniplex.
Oh, dang.
It's called the Science Museum now, but it's just this awesome, huge museum of all sorts of fun science things. It's mostly for kids, I'm going to be honest, but I had a blast.
That's hot.
There's a ton of like great food places around here, and I've actually been vegan for the past year, and it's becoming more and more of like a very inclusive place with that.
Cool.
Nice.
So there are all sorts of good food options. There's some great dive bars. Bricktown's really cool. You can walk around there.
Cool.
The Myriad Gardens.
What's the weed game like?
The weed game's pretty solid.
All right.
Yeah. You can buy it. You
Good
got to
to
have
know.
your card, but we've got some great dealers too.
All right. All right. I guess I'll suffer through a weekend.
Well, and
It's a lot of fun.
No, that sounds awesome.
well, and I would add in there. We played the Blue Note. Was the gig that
Yeah.
we did.
Which is non-smoking now.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
That was a trip going to a place where people could smoke in bars, and it was like a totally fine, normal thing.
I hate it, man.
Well, people skirt that here, you know, the way we've had like the outdoor venue situation in the desert for a long time, and I
Right.
feel like people have always tried to get away with, oh, it's a slightly screened-in patio that's outdoors, so we can blow smoke on you.
Yeah.
I hate that.
But yeah, I'm not surprised. You know, I've been back that way enough to know that like, you know, I can't breathe in there.
Right.
Yeah.
But,
What do
and
you
it's
do?
awful.
You're like the
And
asthmatic in here. How do you just politely deal with it until you're like losing like a corpse, like you're blue in the face, like
well, and you're higher up on that stage of Blue Note, so you get all
blue
the
note,
smoke.
Yeah.
blue face at the blue note.
I'm a weirdo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a weirdo in that like even though I have a little bit of like breathing problems and stuff, I like it because I have this weird romantic nostalgia thing in my brain of like
Aw.
it's
It's
like
called
this is
masochism.
how things used to be, like, you know.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I'm a bad person to ask, and also like I associate different things like when I smell cigarette smoke, I automatically think of music and shows just because of like going to like bars and playing gigs. So I don't mind the smell at all, even though I've like never been a smoker.
How about you, Rach?
Yeah, I smoked for like a year and switched over to snus, which
Snus?
are
Oh.
super nice. Snus.
Snus.
My
Like a
best friend
Swedish-
brought him back from Sweden.
It is
and,
Swedish. I was like, whoa,
Yeah, I love them. So, but
Nita.
I don't enjoy playing smoking bars.
Yeah.
Dude, it
You get
triggers me
home
so
and
bad.
with this much hair, it just smells like pure fucking smoke. It's
Oh, I know.
infuriating.
I know.
And I hate washing my hair as it is. So it's
Now
like,
that's a whole other thing. You could probably make like a nice nicotine tea if you actually just like wet your
You
hair
steep
after
your
the
hair
gig
in it.
and just wring it out into
it out.
that. I use just one cup every day and I wring it out into the sink.
Yep.
the fuck out of here.
Easy living.
No, and then your instruments smell like smoke. Ugh, I just
That's the one
not
thing
my-
I can't abide. It's like poison me, but not my Stratocaster, you motherfucker.
right.
Yeah.
Least
I'm a
favorite
baby.
thing.
That's my bourbon.
But I'm such a goober too that I feel like I don't know, maybe that'll add to like the
You're such a
flavor.
goober,
Maybe that'll add to
too.
the flavor of like what my bass sounds like.
See, you're the
I'm
funniest
a
guy. It's
goofy
no wonder
goober.
you'd be
Yeah.
nostalgic for something like secondhand smoke.
Right.
Yeah, and I've never been a smoker. That's the funny thing. I've
It's
like,
so interesting.
yeah, it's like I don't know. That's how my
I
brain
think
works.
we should just flip it and like go to places that we frequent, go to their corporate office. Like I want to go to the nearest Starbucks regional and just walk up in that office building, fucking just smoking like a cigarette and be like, oh, this bothers you here?
Yeah.
It's funny because people do it at my job like it's no fucking thing, man.
Yeah.
I'm that guy.
Crazy.
You know I'm that guy.
The good part about the pandemic is a lot of our smoking bars did go non-smoking because they knew they were going to have to eventually. So might as well take the initiative while you have like this fucking 2-3 month break. Get it out. There's still one smoking bar left, the High Low. It's my boyfriend's favorite bar.
Okay.
It's so smoky.
So
Yeah.
seedy, so dank and dingy. Yeah.
It really is.
It really
That's
is,
the
yeah.
High Low.
Do you like
That's
it?
the High Low. No.
No. What's he like about it? He likes that greasy
He
feel of a
smokes.
dive bar? Oh, he smokes?
Yeah, he smokes. So yeah, he likes just smoking in there while he's drinking.
Right.
Wow, wow.
Right.
Yeah.
That's one I never
Crazy.
understood, even though I was really good at both. I wasn't one of those guys who's like, oh, well, now that I have the beer, can I please have a cigarette? Because it's otherwise not complete. Like, I never got that. Do you?
I can't do it.
Well, no, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I can't kickstand and fucking smoke a cigarette.
I'm also giving you more insight into how my goober brain works. We were in Lubbock, Texas on that same run, and we were at a place called the Library Bar hanging out after our gig. And
I've heard of that place.
Yeah, I bummed a cigarette off of my drummer, and I just lit it while I was drinking and held it and didn't inhale, just so just because you could do it in a bar, and I just was doing
And
it.
you just wanted to do it.
Yeah, and I would flick
That's
the
so
ash
funny.
in there, and I would just take a drink, and then I just let it sit there like it was incense.
Incense, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's
Same diff.
yeah.
Yeah,
In case you
cool.
wondered
That's
what
so
weird
funny.
shit was floating along, that's what my brain looks like. Just
Yeah.
random thoughts and
Yeah.
bubbles going off, and like,
I do love the lava lamp.
thank you.
It really
Yeah.
ties the room together.
Thank you.
Hey.
Hey, another Lebowski reference.
Yep.
I
The
did
dude
just
appreciates
become
you.
a Dudist ordained priest. So
No way. Oh
I
my
can
God.
officiate weddings.
Hells yeah.
Well, I'll
pretty cool.
I'll definitely
go
give
have
you
a-
a ring if I ever need that in the future. So I'll
yeah.
get a
Dude.
Dudist minister in there.
We should
I'm
go
ready
make some
for it.
kids real quick so she can christen them. That'd be sick.
Yes! Let me at him. I'll pour water all over that baby's
All over
head.
the- You're good. You guys are good.
Yeah.
That'd be so funny. We're still good.
We're still good.
We're still good.
Oh man. Well,
Oh, I love those cats.
Oh, man.
I was gonna say we got to wrap this up.
What, really?
Oh.
Whatever.
Well, I was gonna say like I don't want to. If you have any more questions, I don't want to cut you off.
You know what? We satisfied my question list pretty basically today with the questions I asked. I appreciate you, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta be considerate of my
That was
co-host.
a good
You're
hand
such
segue,
a thoughtful co-host, my co-host. Yeah.
Yes.
Hands across lava lamp.
You're both such thoughtful co-hosts. Thank you for having me.
Well,
I missed you, and it was so good to meet you.
Yeah.
Thank
Likewise,
you.
dear.
And
Oh my
real
gosh.
real quick, I want to make sure like, is there anything you want to plug? Like your socials or like any projects you got coming out?
Tell them where to find you, Rach.
Stuff and things with the people.
Stuff and things. You can go to my website, Rachel Lynch and the Daydrinkers.com. You can find me on Facebook by Rachel Lynch and the Daydrinkers, or my Instagram, which is the.daydrinkers.
The dot. Daydrinkers. Don't forget that dot, team. Don't
No.
forget
Don't forget
that
the
dot.
Yeah.
But we're finally coming out with physical copies of our album soon. You
Yes.
can buy that on the website, or you can buy some of our merch on the website. I mean, that's it, really.
Cool.
I've been crocheting a lot. My focus has not been music lately. It's just been like, all right, I got to do something while music's so slow now.
Yeah.
What
Right.
do you like to make? Do you make different things or same thing or?
I made so many things. I made cat couches. I made snake sweaters, like literal, not an innuendo.
Did you make any-
literal sweaters?
Didn't
for
even think that could be a
snakes.
thing. It will be
No,
now.
I was gonna say as much as my
Are we talking
brain
about
goes.
condoms again?
Yeah. Oh, full
I'll
circle.
send you a picture.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I need to see what
snake
this
sweater.
looks like.
How do you
It's
put a
so
sweater on
cute.
something without shoulder bones?
It
That's
slithers
beyond
in.
me. It slithers in.
Yeah, I made this hood. It's like I need to fix it. It's for my little niece that I teach guitar to.
Aw.
But yeah, oh, that's
Was
the
that a
wrong way.
beanie or is she supposed to hide
Hold
in
on.
it from danger?
It's a little box
Oh,
hood.
I get
Oh,
it
there we
now.
go.
Super cute.
I held the wrong end. I made all the Harry Potter characters. I'm making a flamingo. I made all sorts of weird shit, man.
Nice.
Wow.
It's been interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been a weird year.
Yep. For
You
sure.
should do crochet you and the band, do a little 4-piece, and then throw that up on the website. Merch it, girl.
Bidding war.
Boom.
Bidding war.
It'd be so cute because I'm only making it once.
Yep. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it sounds like an intricate job, really.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. You could
But-
do. You could do.
Crocheting all of your hair.
You could do
Yeah,
a whole set.
so
You could do a
much.
little crochet you, all the day drinkers, and then a bonus giraffe, and then you got to collect the whole set.
It'd be so cute.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, hey, that's if you want to do that. I mean, I'd
right.
say take it and run with it.
I'll write it down somewhere. I got a pen. Oh look, I got a
I'm
giraffe
writing down knit
pen.
giraffe just so I don't
Yeah.
forget
There
that.
you go.
That's just a bomb idea. Either way.
Yep. I agree.
That's a good note.
Well, cool.
Yeah, it is.
Giraffe pen.
Done. Yeah.
Done.
Got so much giraffe shit.
Boom.
Ugh.
Cool.
Thank you guys so much.
No, thank you so
you.
much. And yeah, I can't wait to actually get back out there and start playing shows and doing traveling and all that. So we'll definitely come back to your neck of the woods. And yeah, would love to like actually explore more of like what Oklahoma has to offer. And I know
It's so beautiful.
Yeah, and I know you got the
You'll guide us.
You got the lowdown on all the cool places. So
Absolutely.
cool.
And the fun part is, even though I've toured to all these different cities and I've been like even to Norway, I love coming back home.
Yep.
Oklahoma is so beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for you guys to see more of it. It'll be
Hell
fun.
yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right. Take care.
Peace be with you, darling. Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Give me some time to outro this podcast.
All right. Oh man.
This is the outro. We just interviewed Rachel Lynch.
We did.
Tell him, Jesse.
It was fun. I've got no flow whatsoever in the beatboxing world, so I was like, I'm just gonna.
If I started beatbox, see, you stopped, and I was like, if I beatbox underneath, this might seem like a rap.
Let
me help you.
I totally let the beach ball just not only fall down, but fall onto like a punji pit and get deflated. So.
Yeah, no, it's even one step closer. You're like the smiling guy at the concert, right in the middle, like the beach ball comes to him, and he just means to tap it. Somehow his fingernails completely make it implode and just disappears into nothingness.
Yeah.
I was like, "What'd you do with the beach ball?" And you're like, I don't even know.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And it's I'll let you, being the resident sort of hip hop fan,
Resident Evil.
Yeah.
We'll do what? What do I do?
Oh no, just any beatboxing sort of lyrical flow to any of what we do is all your department. That's like your specialty.
If that's my assignment, what are you, demolitions, or you bring the mess kits, or you do a lot of different things?
yeah, a little bit of everything.
The crew guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It was so good to get to talk to her again, and we've chatted and just kept in touch and things like that, but actually getting to like talk about more of her songwriting process and things like that. I don't know. She's just a really fun guest to have on.
Yeah. I like when we feature women.
Yeah, absolutely.
I could honestly at this point be content if the whole show featured nothing but women in art and industry.
Yeah.
I think that's probably one of the few important things we're really doing here, besides just kind of dicking around, as we always would be doing. And Rachel's another part of that, I think, part of that very brief history of ours. And I'm super proud that she came on and talked to us. Yeah. And that we got to maybe get her a couple more eyeballs and ears at her music, because people should be consuming her music.
Yeah. And I love how we had the random moment of her talking about her worst gig that just happened, which again is not something that, as saying in the podcast, you wouldn't put on your highlight reel. And like, if you're trying to get gigs booked, you're not going to send your resume to like a booking agent or a club and go, I tour regularly, and just 2 weeks ago I had my worst show ever and got relentlessly and brutally heckled throughout the show. It's just, those aren't moments that you want to advertise or put out there. But in this kind of setting, when we're going for just a real conversation, it's like, yeah, we've all been through that, so it's like, let's talk about it, let's commiserate about these moments.
Yeah, it was nice, and we kept it very meaningful and polite, and I didn't get crazy because that subject triggers me so hard. I'm so triggered all the time. Watch your words around me. Sorry.
Yeah. No,
that's true though.
It brings out the macho man in all of us.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah.
Beefy, spicy taste.
Yes.
Sorry.
I don't want to snap
that
into
dude
a Slim
just lives
Jim.
in my uvula. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like, no, I don't want to snap into a Slim Jim. I want to snap your neck when
That's
you heckle me at a show.
Yeah, no, I'd never like the heckling thing is like, heckling is bullying.
Yes.
And I'm like, people going out there and doing, I mean, if you took the time, you have Rachel right there in person singing to you, a person with obvious talent, like obviously sharing their vulnerability. It's like, take your fingers out of your ears, stop talking loud. I don't care how drunk you are. Like, there's nothing to excuse that level of stupidity. Like,
right. There's some things that happen that are just so obviously rude to where it's like, you can't even ignore it like passively. Like, it's not just like,
because we don't get no shine as artists, dude.
Yeah, you know.
We don't.
Yeah.
I mean, until you're Post Malone in it, you know?
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you'll obviously be doing another couple weeks.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
That rogue money.
Yeah, that rogue money. Yeah, it's weird because it's the only profession or one of the few you need to justify your existence as far as like you need to prove. And we've talked about this with other guests where it's like you need to prove yourself of like, hey, this is a viable thing. And then there's a whole nother weird set of problems and circumstances and perceptions that come with like when you actually do have some success. People think that once you have success, then you're like loaded or like that you're like somehow, I don't know, arrogant if you're not necessarily, I don't know, just like there's a whole list of, we can go on about perceived perceptions about when you're trying to make it or when you actually do make it, whatever that means. So
yeah. Which, again, is just a certain sort of perception of the situation you're in that's temporary, as all of them are.
And, like, we're on the other side of that where it's like we're, you know.
In the ether.
Yeah, we're trying to get gigs and we're trying to book ourselves for different things and we're trying to get projects going or we have projects that we're working on. And so that's when you're on the side of, like, trying to prove the worth of it in the sense of, you know, finding people that are into it, going through, just paying your dues in a long-winded point that I just made. Paying your dues.
Solid point.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a part of it that is, I think you're absolutely right, that part of dealing with that sort of abuse is, I mean, definitely growing up in the traditional music setting of like being too young to play in a bar, but still playing in a bar with, you know, family members and stuff in a cover band. Like, you know, that kind of stuff is not a foreign experience like some of the stuff she described when you think about the cumulative shit you've been through.
Right.
It's the kind of thing that it puts me off. Like when you guys talk about touring, it's like I'm literally sitting here. I can't wait till we stop talking about touring because it's like I love the idea of playing for people, but I don't like the idea of dealing with the way they are.
Yeah. Well,
and I hate to say it like that, but it's a limiting thing.
Yeah, and everybody's different. You know, it's some people love that experience, and I'm hooked on it from what I've done with it, and I just can't wait to get out there and do it again. And I can't wait to go out there and have new experiences that I could talk about on here instead of just talking about the same experiences of like, I did this and I did this. Because I've started touring within the last 3 years, really, of like going out there and doing road stuff and commuting and whatever else, like doing stuff out and about. So I have a good amount of experiences, but I don't have like tons and tons of stories. So it's like, I can't wait to just have more of them and experience that whole thing. And also, for all of the good and bad, I love observing humanity and how different parts of the country live and things like that. But I could see for some people, if you don't like landscapes and you're not really a fan of like socializing with people, yeah, it can be a drag. It could be something to where it's like, I love music, but I'm not into all of these other things that come with it.
Yeah, and I think I've noticed that in my experience, there's a threshold for people who are creatives because, like, Rachel mentioned how she was actually really shy, and this was a process to get to where she was even comfortable playing in front of people. And I'm like,
me too.
I think we could all speak to that a little bit. There's an interior shyness that whether it was like, you know, kind of conditioned out of you, like I was doing with, you know, like the stuff I was doing, or whether you had to adapt a little later, like you did. It's all part of that pain. It's still part of the pain dues in a sense too, but you end up deciding for yourself whether or not you really like the process of it all, for sure.
Yep.
Like you said, it's like if you like hanging out with people all the time, like you and Rachel do, it's one thing. I only like nice people like you guys. Like I feel like a people collector. Yep. And as long as I have enough nice ones, then maybe I won't, you know, start the darkness.
Ooh.
Begin the scourge.
Winter's coming.
Winter's been here, bitch. And let me tell you, just because we got rid of one evil thing that's been sitting around doesn't mean we ain't got a whole lot of shit to deal with.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
But in the meantime, go listen to Rachel's music.
I was like, how are we going to segue out of that?
It's real simple. Like, hey, fuck it. Fuck me. Hey, you know, you guys know I'm weird. Anyway.
Yeah. No, and I think that, you know, in just summing all that up, I hope that having these talks is somehow relatable and people get some insight out of it. At the very least, entertaining, and it might make you laugh or go, I never thought about that. At best, I would hope that you get some insight out of it, just hearing somebody else's perspective. So
I guarantee you've been a little turned on if you check yourself. Think about it. You got a little turned on a couple times.
Yep. I mean, hey, it's a natural
Be honest.
thing. It happens. It's okay. This is a non-judgmental space.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I judge you.
And that's why we're on both sides of the lava lamp. That's why you should listen to Rachel's music and follow her on social media. And also, real quick, just a quick shout out. Thank you to Max Taylor, as always, for engineering these.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, I haven't either. I see him occasionally in the corner over there. And, you know, rarely make eye contact.
Oh, okay, because you did bring it up. Anyway, don't forget to check out Rachel Lynch and The Daydrinkers, because there's 2 separate socials out there, as I found out in my scooting around this week.
Yes.
You'll find some clips of Rachel online, but Rachel Lynch and The Daydrinkers is the new incarnation to look for.
Yep.
And God bless you all, and have a good night.
Bye.
Peace. Fingers.
Sonic City Council was created by Jesse Davidson and Davey Sipes and engineered by Max Taylor at Desert Sound Studio in Palmdale, California. Thank you to Disaster Cabinet for the outro music. Intro music written by Max Taylor. Sonic City Council is produced in association with Amped Music Academy and the Showcase Venue. For more information, visit theshowcasevenue.com.